good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeanette, and I'm from the Consumer and Investor Office at the Securities Commission Malaysia. Welcome to our webinar, Digital Literacy for Seniors Program. Today's webinar is on an opportunity to invest in businesses that matter to you via equity crowdfunding. On behalf of the SC, we wish to record our appreciation to higher seniors for their assistance in promoting this program. Okay, we are pleased to have with us today Ms. Teh Su-Ching from Leet Capital to present on the topic an opportunity to invest in businesses that matter to you via equity crowdfunding. Allow me to share a brief background on Su-Ching. Su-Ching has 25 years of working experience in audit, corporate advisory, business development, corporate finance, accounting and financial management. Su-Ching started a career in Crow, Malaysia as a senior audit and thereafter promoted to a director for provision of corporate advisory service. In 2010, she joined Tonic Asia Group as a chief finance officer. Thereafter, she joined TradeWinds Plantation Berhad as a head of business development. Midway in her career in TradeWinds, she switched her role to a general manager of finance and involved in project management and handled several key initiatives in the information technology, human resources, legal and finance department. Currently, she is an advisor to Signature Snacks Sdn Berhad and Signature Market Sdn Berhad, director of Capers Management Group, private healthcare management and chief financial officer at 1337 Ventures Sdn Berhad. Next. Please do follow us on our social media platform for useful information on investing and latest updates on our initiatives. Now, I will pass over to Su-Ching to share a presentation today. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Okay, hi. This afternoon already. Good afternoon, everyone. So nice of you to join us today. Just a little introduction to who we are. Leet Capital is one of the 10 licensed ECF operators by the Securities Commission, and we have been helping SMEs fundraise for a very long time. We also invest personally into companies, especially startups, through our Alpha Startup programs that we organize with Capital Markets Malaysia and some other multinational companies. Okay, we are part of the 1337 ecosystem. We have the Leet Academy part, the Leet Capital, and the Leet Consulting part. As mentioned, we do a lot of teaching, a lot of coaching and mentoring, especially for entrepreneurs. And our partners have been people like Magic and even banks and even Khazanah and Bank Negara as well. Okay, so you can see that our ecosystem is very geared towards the education part. So we deal a lot with startup companies and companies that are in the technology realm. We do accelerator programs for big corporations and even the Capital Markets Malaysia. Yeah. So just a little brief on our upcoming deals on our website. If you go and check us out, you will be able to see Green Lagoon, and then we have QMAT. So, okay, let us dive directly into what equity crowdfunding is. If I go to Capital Markets Malaysia and I read the definition, it says that it is an innovative form of alternative fundraising that allows small businesses to raise capital from the public using online platforms registered by the Securities Commission. So what it means is that companies that are smaller, the traditional way has always been to raise capital via mother and father, or go to the bank, or you can wait for the time when you grow bigger and then you IPO. Now, if you go to your mom and pop, there is a limited amount of money that you can raise. You go to the banks, and I have experienced this myself being in a couple of companies. When you don't do well, banks do not wish to lend you money. So if you want to expand and you know that the next wave is coming, banks just look at your profit numbers and they go, oh, if it is a loss, I'm not interested. So there is a limitation to the banking sector as well. So companies and SMEs find that there is this barrier that they have to go through, and capital is hard to come by. Now, recognizing this, of course, instead of waiting so long until you get into an IPO-able state, that your company is worthy to be listed on Bursa Malaysia, that will be some time ahead already. And there are a lot of things that you have to comply with the authorities, with Bursa Malaysia, as well as Securities Commission, before you finally can raise funds from the public. So an ECF is an intermediary stop point. It allows SMEs to have access to capital from individuals like you and me, and also an opportunity for the public to invest in companies that are worthy of those capital. So a few key takeaways. Every year, the Securities Commission does their annual report, and they report on the financial health of the capital market situation in Malaysia. And to date, the cumulative amount raised via ECF has been about 200 million. And this is up to 2020. So 2021 is an exciting time for ECFs actually. But even up to 2020, 5 years, 200 million has already been raised. Now, 60% of issuers are technology focused. So a lot of times companies that are in technology sphere, they find that there's just a lot of capital that has to be spent, a lot of investment in the beginning years. Now, I know this because I am an advisor with Signature Market. Signature Market started 7 years ago. And for the first 5 years, if you would check out the SSM, so these are not numbers that are hidden and cannot be told, it was loss making. So I understand when I came in on the 6th year, just to get funding from banks was really, really tough because they want to see the profits before they are able to lend you money. Yeah. So Signature Market did an ECF in 2017. That time it was still loss making. So it was really 5 years before we saw a change in consumer behavior. Now, Signature Market does use a lot of technology in its process. The backbone of the business and the e-fulfillment part is very driven by technology, which we built in-house. So in that sense, the issuer being technology focused, it gives a little edge. It is not the normal mom and pop kind of business, although it is in FMCG. Majority raise for business expansion reasons, of course. Retail investors account for 66% of all ECF deals, and the stage funding has dropped significantly, but the raises have grown, right? Okay, here is a little bit of demographic of the investor profile. As you can see, under nationality, gender, and age, those above age 55 are about 8 to 9%. Majority of the people who invest in ECS and be able to take that more risk are the people that are below 35 years old. So that's the 44% in 2020, and it was 48% in 2019. So this 80% of ECF investors are below the age of 45, and this big disparity needs to be narrowed down, and I hope to be able to convince you as we go along. Okay, so why ECF in particular? Is there a secret sauce to a successful campaign? Every time we do an ECF campaign, we always advise our clients on realistic funding expectations. So how much do they intend to raise? What are they going to use it for? So you can understand that ECF is not somebody, although it is an easier form of raising capital, not just any company can do it. It has to go via one of the 10 license holders. So we are one of them, and it is our duty then to go and see the company to understand what the business prospect is, understand what the funding is required for. And over here, this is where companies can get a little bit creative. They can offer incentives but for being an investor in the company. Certain times an ECF campaign, in order to be more successful, they might invite anchor investors in and to take a larger chunk of the amounts that are going to be raised. Yeah. So retail friendly products and services, those are, I suppose it's easier to understand for the investing public to be able to appreciate and be able to participate in the ECF campaign. Okay, so how do you register as an investor on Leet Capital? You go to our website on leetcapital.co or .net, I think. You click on Leet Capital and then you select sign up. Okay, when you register your account, you just click on this link and then you say you want to invest. You fill up your personal details and your account details, and then you select what type of investor you are. So there are 3 types of investors over here: the retail, the angel, and the sophisticated. These are defined by the Securities Commission. A sophisticated investor usually has about 3 million worth of personal assets, and this one has to be proven. So once you click on any particular link, you would have to send evidence to the website in order for you to prove that you are either one of them. Okay, an angel investor is the definition is the gross annual income of not less than 180,000, that's per annum. And a retail investor is anybody else other than the sophisticated and the angel investor. So once you have gone through this, you will need to send in your proof of that you exist, proof of existence, which is your IC, or if you are not a Malaysian, then it will be your passport. And then there you go, you are ready to invest. And when a campaign is live on any of the RMO's website, and RMO is a recognized market operator, then you can click and say that you will be interested. And when the campaign goes live, you can participate in the equity. Now, a lot of times people ask, if I participate in the equity and if I'm a shareholder, what does that mean? Do I own shares directly in the company? Now, in an ECF structure, normally the number of shareholders can go into the hundreds. So like in the case of Signature Market, we had 141 shareholders. So if you have over 50 shareholders in Malaysia, then you would become a Berhad already. And when you have you're a Berhad, a non-listed public company, then the rules and regulations are a little bit more onerous, and you have to do a lot more reporting to the authorities, especially the Securities Commission. So in order to address this challenge, we will have a nominee structure. So 1337 nominee would stand in as the company that holds the shares of the retail investors, the angel investors, and the sophisticated investors. So this chart is just to show you that the issuer or the company will be having the existing shareholders in their shareholders base, and 1337 nominee as the representative of all the shareholders that participated in the ECF campaign. Yeah. Okay, this is just a little quick brief about how the steps it takes to investing. Of course, the first step that you must do is to register as an investor. And then the campaign goes live. You invest in a campaign, and then you transfer the amount to a trust account, which we will set up for every campaign. So your money doesn't go directly to the company. And when the campaign ends, the RMO will be the one that will transfer the money to the issuer and the digital certificate to you as an investor. So you will know that that is your right to the equity of the company. Okay, over here I have a few frequently asked questions, which we encounter over and over again. Some of you may key in the questions later, and we will probably be able to address those later. But I thought I'll just bring it up front and address the elephant in the room. How risky is investment in ECF? Now, investment comes with it the normal risk. Every investment has is just inherent risk. But of course, in an ECF, usually a company is smaller in nature. It is not as big. So unlike in an IPO, we have the Securities Commission would have things like the profit test, the quantitative as well as the qualitative. You need your board of directors in a certain way. You need to state that you are in compliance with all the rules and regulations that are existing in Malaysia if you're operating in Malaysia. And the process can be quite onerous. You even had to state things like how robust is your internal controls of the company. So those are measures that the Securities Commission take in order to protect investors like you and me when a company goes public. So in an ECF, it is smaller in size. The amounts raised are not as big. So averagely, it's probably between 2 to 5, 7 million. But it also carries its inherent risk. A lot of us that are in this room are, except some guests, we have been around. We have invested in companies, even if they are listed, that go bust and they're just not here today and gone tomorrow. So it really doesn't matter where the investment is. What really matters is the company and whether you feel as an investor, the company will be able to survive, right? So again, how risky is the investment in ECF? To me, it's not unlike any other company that you would normally invest in, even if it is listed, although the regulations are there to protect the investor generally. What is the transaction cost? The transaction cost to the investor is nothing, except if you're transferring from abroad, probably you have some bank charges. But once you transfer to the trust account, then usually the issuer will be the one that bears any other transactions that are associated with the ECFs. Okay. So when can I exit? That is a very common question. When can a person exit? Usually it is when the company or the issuer embarks on an exit program. Usually it is an IPO, usually. Sometimes it is a trade sale. That means it is a sale to a third party. Sometimes the equity instrument that they use is not ordinary shares, but preference shares with the redemption feature. Some of you may like that. So there is certainty that the equity instrument will be redeemed at a certain time. So those are the times that you exit. So what if the company doesn't go for an IPO? Then you will be a shareholder in the Sdn Bhd for some time. However, could there be a secondary market? That is what a lot of the industry is talking about right now. I think generally the RMOs are working hard to create a secondary market, but that is nothing to stop you as a shareholder of the company to find a buyer and then informing the nominee company, and there will be just a switch of the certificates once you send in the necessary documents like a sale and purchase agreement and the bank transfers. Yeah, how can I realize my return and how I can exit is about the same. Those questions are really dependent on the issuer. So I can give you just a little understanding based on signature market. In 2017, we did our ECF round. We raised 1.5 million from 141 shareholders, public shareholders, and now it's 2021 already. 2021, so there has been 4 years. Shares that they are currently holding are still existing. It will not go away. But the amount of money that has come to Signature Market has made good that amount of money. We have invested in the right things with the right people, and we are embarking on our own IPO in 2 or 3 years. So that is when the shareholders can see that that would be an exit at that particular point in time, right? Okay, so here is why you should invest in an ECF. I guess with all its inherent risk, a lot of you who are here today, I would make some very broad assumptions, which I think are fairly safe. Firstly, you are here because you have more than enough. You have more than enough to make sure that there is food on the table, you have shelter and all that. So your basic needs are already met. You are here today also because, and also with a portfolio of investments already. So you have put in your money into things that are traditional. I can use that. FDs for liquidity, probably a lot of properties for that capital appreciation. Some of you might have money in the share market, either long-term or short-term, sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. And those are the traditional things. Perhaps some of you are a little bit more adventurous, have invested in things like crypto, which is really currently the hot thing. Some of you might dabble with, I don't know, Forex investments or what have you. So those are the things that are quite normal for a person like me and you, right? So you are looking now to diversify your portfolio. And you are just wondering, is ECF the way to go? Is it a platform worth exploring? So like everything else in the investment world, you do not put all your eggs in one basket. And for ECF, it is really things like, okay, I have made sure that I'm comfortable and I have this amount of money that is invested in things that will give me the returns at specific points in time so that my quality of life does not change. And then I have this little extra, right? But I want to be able to preserve my capital, and I can understand why that is a need at a certain point of time in our lives, right? But here is an opportunity in ECFs to invest in projects that really matter. Now, we've seen quite a few ECFs that have come by our doors. So those are things that are like green projects. We have a company that is looking at, they make furniture, but they are really so concerned about the environment that they would, it becomes their mission to have zero waste in their factory. So that's something that really resonates with me, because I feel that people have been cutting down trees so indiscriminately. And that is a project that I probably would want to put money in to see how it will turn out. But if it wasn't for ECF, this company would not be able to reach me as a potential investor, and I would not be able to invest directly in it. We have also another company that you all know, that effluent that comes out from palm oil mills, when they are just exposed in the ponds, it releases methane gas. And the methane gas is a greenhouse gas, which is actually harmful for the environment. So what they do is they cover it up and they capture the methane gas and they convert it into energy, which is then sold back to the grid. And that's the commercial part. The commercial part makes sense, but it is long-term. It is over 21 years. But the capturing of the methane gas is every day. And this is methane gas that is then converted into clean energy, which we currently, which would otherwise have gone to the environment and pollute the environment and cause the environmental damage that we see. So what about farms that have sustainable farming? So those are projects that really matter to our current problems at the moment. We're looking at opportunities to invest in technology companies. Back to signature market. FMCG, yes, but the backbone is really e-commerce, using e-commerce as a platform. A lot of people would be like, oh, I have missed the boat, because 4 years ago when the company wasn't making money yet, people were short-sighted and said, oh, you're not making money, because that's the way all of us have been taught to value companies. Look at the profits, take a multiple, and therefore that's the valuation of the company. So what if the company makes a loss? Then there is no value at all. Can we allow for investment in opportunity if we can see it? So that's ECF. ECFs allow the public to invest in opportunities that the investor feels is a possibility. Yeah. So if you check out the ECFs that are currently available, there might be technologies that you might like. Food ordering, which is very common right now and very popular. Certain financial tools like insurance and all that, hotel booking, social marketplace. There are all sorts of technology companies currently. Now this one, the third one, is a little bit more personal. It's an opportunity to leave a legacy. Now, I'm going to share this with you. I saw this when I went into an investment class. Very funny. It was about 6 years ago when I entered in that investment class, because I thought that learning is an ongoing process. We will never be short of. We will always need to learn. So I went in there and I saw this sign, and it says the best time to actually it's not to invest. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time is now. So I thought, can you just swap plant a tree with investment? My question to everyone who is attending now, would you plant a durian tree now? Durian trees take forever to fruit, right? Would you plant a durian tree if you knew you wouldn't eat its fruits? Won't you want to participate or financially assist in a project such as this? Let me just tickle your mind. What about a cure for cancer if there was such a project? Wouldn't you want to participate in financially assisting this project? Elimination of plastics, a reversal of global warming, super agriculture methods to increase yields. And we have a finite world and an infinite population boom, and it's not going to stop. Now, the world is not going to feed itself, so we need technology to assist. And all these things, the research into science and technology needs money. What to do with all this garbage that we have? So many people are producing garbage. If there was a solution, would you want to participate in it? Wouldn't you want to participate in it? What about bionic knees so that everyone can be mobile and have good quality of life in their later years? Yeah. So this ECF allows people like you and me right now, no matter what age we are, to be a part of something great. And that's how I personally feel. Why don't you take yourself a little bit, a few years back? Would you invest in this kind of projects when they arose? A cure for smallpox. How about financing Nikola Tesla's projects? Or when Steve Jobs' business was in a garage before Apple came to being? Or the Wright brothers' first flying machine? Sure, you can put money in shares of a listed company, but that is really, really traditional. And wouldn't it be more meaningful that our money, as a result of our sweat and tears and accumulated over time, has a lasting legacy long after we are gone? Now, I'm not advocating recklessness here, certainly not. But if a project resonates with you, and ECF is the platform to bring that opportunity to you. Okay, my son told me that he wants to do something to make something better. And to do that, you can either invent something or you can help someone do it. And that helping someone do it, the platform is ECF. The additional zero in your bank account doesn't mean as much as helping someone achieve their dreams or solving a world challenge. And then after that, you can say, yes, it is true that the world was a better place because I lived. And that is how I view ECF. That is my sharing for today. I know that there are a few questions that I have been typed in the chat, and Jeanette, could you just read them to me?
Okay, hi. Thanks, Su-Ching, for your informative presentation. So yeah, we do have a few questions. Like the first one is, any fees, hidden charges that we need to be aware of when basically investing with ECF or Leet Capital?
I get it that the person is asking from the point of view of an investor.
Yes,
actually, no.
no.
Really, it's just a matter of transferring the whatever it says. Sometimes there are even discounts. An ECF platform allows for the issuer to have a lot of flexibility. So it could be if you invest during a certain time, then you get some bonus discounts. If the company is in a product or service that is tangible, then they could perhaps give you as like a free gift or a service, maybe a class for free or whatever. So the issuer can be creative in their capital raising in this manner.
Okay. The next one is there a minimum investment, or does it depend on the campaign?
There is no, it really depends on the campaign.
Yeah.
So I can tell you right now, for instance, the share for Signature Market was $76 in 2017. So it's really a matter of valuing the company in whatever valuation method that the company or the issuer deem fit, and dividing it over the number of shares. So the only thing you probably have to know, please check with your personal accountants, what is pre-money valuation, what is post-money valuation, and that is the way that the price of the share is determined.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Next one is what kind of progress reports of the investment are given, and how frequent are they?
I think it is every. I have my colleague here with me, Justin.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it every quarter or every half yearly?
Yeah, so it really depends what's in the shareholders agreement. So every issuer has their own frequency of how often they give reports. So the ones we've seen is every quarterly, you get quarterly updates, which is passed on to the nominee, because the nominee is the shareholder. And as the nominee, we then distribute it to all the individual shareholders. So it's normally either quarterly or semi-annually.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Okay, next one, is there any durian plantation campaign ongoing now with
Yes, there's one, and I don't think it's my place to mention the name, but we have this exciting thing called Google. So if you just type durian plantation ECF, you'll easily find it. I'm not sure whether the campaign has closed. It's not with Leet Capital, but you can easily find it.
Okay, and I think we have a last question. Is the investment returns taxable?
Taxable. Okay, the investment returns, currently there is no capital gains tax in Malaysia other than real property, unless the laws change. So even if you buy shares from the stock market and when you sell it, you don't pay any taxes on your gains. On the flip side, if you lose money, that is also is on your own.
Yeah.
You can deduct it against anything, unless that is your batch of trade. So if your batch of trade, that means your profession is you are an investor, and therefore how you get your income is from the buying and selling of shares. So if that is the case, then the gain will become your income and subjected to income tax. But for the majority of us, that's not the case. So the short answer is no, because there is no capital gains tax in Malaysia yet.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Su-Ching. Okay, I think Su-Ching also has actually, in the next slide, you actually have the number and where they can contact you guys should they have any further questions, right? Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry. Huh.
No, it's okay. So because we have no more questions now on the chat or in Slido, so for those of you who do want to reach out to Leet, please follow them on social media, or you can email or contact them at the number.
I see we have 60 attendees, and that's quite good.
Yeah, that's good.
Are there any more questions in the chat?
No, I don't think so. I think Justin replied one on RMO. I think that's all we have.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So thank you once again, Su-Ching. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Su-Ching, for speaking on our webinar today. Don't forget, if you wish to watch this webinar again, we will upload the webinar on our YouTube channel in due course. Do check out our previous webinar sessions on our YouTube channel as well. Before we end this session, just a quick reminder to all, always check that you are dealing with an authorized company individual. Also remember to never ever deposit money into an individual bank account, even if they are licensed or registered with the authorities. Stay safe, stay at home, and if you need to be out, always maintain physical distancing. Hope to see everyone again at our next webinar. Thank you.